Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get together live here on Facebook. Or, as I wrote in the comments this morning, instead of saying good morning, I should say, "Kiovole," "Kiovole," or "Cubo." It's a great greeting that we use here in Mexico, and I'm going to use it today just because it's one of the greetings and the expressions that we're going to feature in tomorrow's lecture, Spanish lecture that we're going to do, and it is a versatile word. It is a wonderful word. I love my vernacular Spanish, and I love to spread it around, and you already know that, so I shouldn't be overdoing it. But why not? It is a fun thing to do. Anyhow, I'm sorry. I'm still recovering from Redneck Weekend. This is Coffee and Headlines, our morning get-together live on Facebook, morning through Saturdays, 10:30 in the morning. We look at headlines from our city. We look at comments that you have. We look at knowledge that we share, and we see how we can best put it to good use, so that we can connect as a community of English-speaking locals here in Puerto Vallarta. Is there still room in tomorrow's class? Of course there is. I understand that tickets are selling well, but I haven't heard from the venue that they're sold out or anything. In fact, I'm going to be there this afternoon just for a technical rehearsal, make sure that my presentation looks fine on their television set and that everybody will be comfortable and all that good stuff. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. First, we have all the news to go through. As always, we've collected a few headlines that might be of interest to you, including the return of pediatric COVID vaccinations, more follow-up on the cigarette smoking business, and what else do we have? Well, we have all kinds of things that we want to share. So we're going to get started with our news. As always, the word new in your comment helps us identify you as a new live viewer and give you a nice welcome. The capital letter Q helps us identify comments that you think are fundamental for everybody to pay attention to, including myself. And today I'll be looking for comments on a very specific topic that came to my attention, and I'm just wondering where you're at in this whole business. Are you intrigued? Let's go. Okay, while I fix this, I tell you, I so quickly scratch all my head and my nose and all the things that I need to pick in these transitions. I love it because we go into the transition and I just go, ooh, 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 ee, ee. Anyhow, this week, state health authorities have resumed COVID-19 vaccinations, a campaign for children between 5 and 11 years of age in all 125 municipalities of the state. As I understand it, here in Puerto Vallarta, the vaccines are available at the health center located on Juarez Street. This is right on Cinco de Diciembre. and also at the regional hospital. If you have any children in your household, if you know anybody that does and they haven't had their young ones vaccinated or they need to complete their vaccination protocol, this is the time to do it. Now, a reporter from Vallarta Opina took it upon himself to saunter around Colonia Emiliano Zapata just to see how many shops and corner stores are now abiding by the new tobacco law. And he reports in this article that it's a mixed batch. There are some stores that are following the new guidelines of not showing the cigarette packs to the T, while others show the backside of them, and others are not following the lawsuit, the new law implementations at all. But here's the interesting part, and it comes from another article. In this other article, we learned from City Hall's Director of Permits, Hortensia Dueñas, that the new tobacco laws cannot even be implemented locally just yet. You see, part of the new tobacco law establishes that for municipalities to be able to enforce it, these municipalities must first make modification to existing laws. And since Puerto Vallarta has not made such modifications or published new laws in the official journal of the municipality, Puerto Vallarta is still abiding by the old laws. So as of today, nobody can come into your business and fine you because the laws just are not adequate for it. For example, apparently, the current municipal law doesn't even contemplate the difference between areas in which you can smoke or not. So how can they fine you for smoking where you're not supposed to smoke when the laws do not even establish the difference? It sounds silly, but eventually I'm sure they will get the laws up to speed. But right now, you can rest assured if you're a smoker, you don't have as much to worry about as they say. But, soon enough, the law will catch up with our municipality and things will change. We also learned this morning that SEAPAL is still going at it around Basilio Vadillo Street in Colonia Emiliano Zapata. Now they're announcing that starting tonight at 10 p.m., a portion of Ignacio L. Vallarta Street between Venustiano Carranza and Basilio Vadillo will also be closed to vehicular traffic for the next 72 hours. So if you're going to be in that neighborhood, plan for alternate routes if you're driving, and if not, simply walk around, leave your car elsewhere, and enjoy the dust. Although some people reported a little mini rain shower last night that may have gotten rid of some of the dust out there. I'm not entirely sure. The last big set of news, or the last item in our big set of news, is that Gala Puerto Vallarta Riviera Nayarit. This is the annual trade show showcasing our destination's finest offerings as they relate to the travel industry, is coming back on February. Since last year, it took place here in Puerto Vallarta. This time around, the event will be hosted by Nayarit at the Vidanta in Bahía de Banderas. The event will take place on February 16 and 17. And while this is not an event that is open to the public, it is extremely important to our destinations because it creates for an excellent opportunity for tour operators, hotel wholesalers, hotel chains, and many other movers and shakers of the tourism industry, both nationally and internationally, to meet, to gather, and to learn about what's new in our destinations and how to best promote the close to 40,000 hotel rooms now available in the region. So we hope the event goes well. And that's all I have to say about that. Let us turn over to the weather just to see what's going on out there. We've read this before. That cloud looks like David Hasselhoff eating a cheeseburger, whatever. It is 23 degrees right now. Humidity is at 62%. Our temperature in Fahrenheit degrees is 74. And our weather forecast says partly cloudy through the day with a high of 27. and a low of 16. But beam tomorrow, Wednesday, clear through the day with a high of 28 and a low, oh my God, and a low of 16. And then Thursday, clear through the day with a high of 29 and a low of 18. So, before we dive into the casual news, a little anecdote. I don't have all the details because I thought I'm not going to talk about this because it seems kind of silly. But apparently, there's someone out there that is selling a tour that takes you to Pitillal, where you can learn how to eat the way locals do. And the reason it was curious to see this item is that they were charging, I think they were charging 1,000 pesos, 1,000 pesos to walk to Pitillal to learn how locals eat. And some people were giving this issue some flack because, it's like, where does it add up that you have to pay 1,000 pesos to go learn how locals eat when locals can eat locally in Pitillal for a fraction of that? So a couple of people sent that to me, and again, I chose to dismiss it because I figured, it doesn't apply to what we're doing here at Coffee and Headlines. But there's this thing that was sent to me last week that that also made me roll my eyes and wonder, and I'm just going to put it on the screen because I might as well just get into this. Somebody wrote me this question. Hi there. Does it make sense to pay $212 US per person for the Rhythms of the Night tour? And my first reaction was like, holy shit, is that what? Yes. And we got frozen halfway through this lovely conversation. My apologies. I think Telmex is going to be the vein of my existence all this week, but I'm here. Please don't go away. We are still here. Anyhow, as I was saying, somebody was asking, does it make sense to pay $212 per person for the Rhythms of the Night tour offered by Vallarta Adventures? Needless to say, I gave this a lot of thought, and I'm like, how on earth do I answer this one? And I figured I'm going to answer it as a local because I am, after all, an English-speaking local. And I answered saying, as a local, it makes no sense to me because that's the equivalent of my groceries for a month. That's right. 4,000 pesos, which is, what $212 would be, is quite close to my monthly rent. It is also the budget I'd need for a lovely weekend in Guadalajara. And yes, it is my groceries for the month. And just as interesting to me is the fact that the cost of live entertainment in our city sometimes makes sense, sometimes doesn't make sense. For example, I went to see Seth Sykes recently, and Seth Sykes is going to have a great show along with another singer at Encanto, and they're going to be accompanied by Mark Hartman on the piano, and the price of that adventure is between 25 and 30 US dollars per person. Now, each one of these three gentlemen, Seth Sykes, Mark Hartman, and the name of the other singer escapes me in the new show, and the New Belters, each one of them has more talent and experience. They're all Broadway performers. Each one of them has more talent and experience than this other show going on at another venue in town where there's a local singer with dancers and performing with tracks, and this one is being sold for even more money, $34. So on the one hand, it's easy for me to say some of these things are not for me, but it also makes me wonder moving forward how local venues are going to start changing their prices to allow for people that have more or less experience on stage. I am curious to hear um, what you are thinking about these topics, whether you think Rhythms of the Night is worth $200 or not. I mean, it's a huge operation. It's a wonderful show. I've done it a million years ago, but that's $200. That's a lot of dough, at least for a local. So I'm curious to see your comments, and we'll take a look at them after we're done with some of these news. And now we move to the Academy Award nominations. They are out. And of course, several Mexican creatives fared well, including Alfonso Cuaron, who was nominated for a live action short called Le Pupil. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, the wonderful animated movie that local movie theaters choose not to show because it's too complicated, was nominated for Best Animation Film. And of course, Alejandro González Iñárritu was nominated for Best Cinematography in his film Bardo, False Chronicle of a Handful of Truths. This is all very exciting for Mexico, and of course, also very exciting for Everything Everywhere at Once, which, as I understand it, got 11 nominations. I haven't seen the film, but I'm really fascinated by it. I found the complete list of nominees in the New York Times, and I'll include it in this morning's show notes. The Academy Awards ceremony will take place on March 12th. And last but not least, the final shameless plug to my Adventures in Vernacular Spanish lecture, which will take place tomorrow afternoon at the Joint Co-working Hotel from 5 to 6:30. It's only 300 pesos. I've done a lot of research on some choice phrases and words that tickle my fancy, that make me laugh, that you will appreciate knowing, and that will make your Spanish instructor eyes pop out when he or she hears you saying them out loud. I hope you can join us. It'll be a fun time. 300 pesos. It's a bargain. It's a lot less than some of these live performances that I was talking about. Anyhow, let's see what you guys are up to this morning. Shabba-dee-ba-da. Lots of good mornings as always, and I appreciate those very much. Yes, I love it how Albert refers to the little rain as mini rain. Yesterday I woke up from a little mini nap and I could smell the rain, and it was wonderful. But I looked out the window and I couldn't see anything. Purim pum pim. Let's see. Pum kararum pum pim. Lots of good mornings, lots of conversation. I love it when you guys get chatty with one another. But here's a cue. Has any maintenance work been done on the highway to Boca? Many potholes last time I was on it. I was on that highway not even 2 weeks ago when I went to El Tuito, and it was it was the usual, some holes here, some holes there, but it was definitely quite manageable. I don't know if anybody has more recent reports to that effect. Let's see. Pum pam pim pam pam. I will say last night was the first time I've been in Bodeguita del Medio without a cigar smoker. Maybe just dumb luck. I don't know. But yeah, cigars are quite popular there from what I hear. Let's see what else. Pat Reese says, I ate in Pitillal on Saturday, not even close to 1,000 pesos. Well, again, there's got to be some value in the offering. I saw the description of this tour. I was not as offended about the price, but the tour seemed to sensationalize the way locals eat, and it was written in such a way that I felt like a monkey in a monkey cage. It's like you pay 1,000 pesos to go see how the monkeys behave. It was just worded really weirdly, and I thought, not for me. Lucy asks, have I changed internet companies? No, I haven't. I'm still working with a Telmex, and I'm hoping to believe that all these problems with Telmex have to do with the fact that they're upgrading the lines here in my neighborhood to optical fiber. So I'm going to continue to be patient about this and continue to appreciate the fact that you are being patient about it. Colleen asks, would Gina consider hosting an informal cluster get-together once a month, the first Friday of each month, or the third Wednesday of each month, or whatever works for her? Paco can still do the big meet and greets on his schedule. Just wondering if people would be interested in this. That's a great question. That's a great question. I mean, it's just a matter of asking Gina what she wants to do. I personally do not wish to invest myself in more frequent meet and greets unless the cluster, unless you guys say, we definitely need more frequent meet and greets, in which case we will be happy to make them so. Remember GTS, it answers everything. GTS, that must be gay tomboys suck, or maybe gelatin tart sounds. I don't know what GTS is, so I can't relate to that comment. My apologies. Brian comments on Everything Everywhere at Once is really good. I can't wait to see it. David says that when I said bargain, it sounded like Bostonian. I love it. I love it. Rita, who's an English-speaking local, says 200 USD is way beyond my budget. $100 is our limit, and those performances are usually for a benefit of some kind. Interesting. Google that shit. Thank you very much. Google that shit. I remember we had a conversation about this. I forgot about that. Google that shit. Anyhow, this is where we are at. We've gotten to the end of the broadcasts. Again, I appreciate the fact that some people create tours and activities, but in my mind, the line between things that are designed for tourists and the things that are designed for locals couldn't be clearer than this notion that tourists pay $200 to go see Rhythms of the Night. Shit, that's a lot of dough for a local, but what do I know? All I can say is it's not for me, and I'd rather have my groceries taken care of. This is Coffee and Headlines for today. I'm sorry about the Telmex snafu, and hopefully they will not become a trend. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Have a great Tuesday, and I'll see you again tomorrow.